For 6 months we have faced invasion, but here, at Albion, we will make our stand.
Welcome everybody to the March update for Kalidasia Media Productions. I'm Jason, the creator of the Kalidasia universe. And let me get this helmet off here because I have no idea if you can actually hear me or not, but if you didn't, I'm Jason. And welcome to this little monthly update for Kalidasia Media Productions. What I just took off here was a almost complete armor for the upcoming short film set in the Kalidasia universe. I got some cleanup work to do in the helmet where the visor and the helmet meet, and I'm also wearing the battle armor that normally sits behind me on this little thing back here as well. So in terms of getting this particular costume ready for the upcoming short film, I've got to work on the bodysuit. So I kind of have pieces of it around here. So it's going to be this kind of a texture. And I got to basically make something that fits over my entire body with this, along with, of course, the tail that I'm wearing, because this is an Aragul costume. But enough about the short film for right now, because if you want to get more updates on that, follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/rockerrobotics. There will be a link in the video notes. Oh, here's the pistol, if I didn't show that off last time. But, of course, what you guys really want to hear about is the Colayth Guard. So let's say, yeah. Let's see if I can not screw that up. Oh, well, whatever. One take, screw it. What you guys really want to hear about is the Colayth Guard, right? So let me go ahead and talk about those guys right now. So the Colayth Guard actually got on the table this past month, and I'm still in the phase where I'm kind of figuring out all the big issues and items and things like that about the rules for the Colayth Guard. So even after a little bit of playtesting, they've gone through some major changes. Basically, they were way too powerful. If you follow me on Instagram, Kalidasia Games at Instagram, you would have seen the picture at the end of the battle where after 6 turns at 50 points, there was no Aragul left on the board. That's not the kind of battle game I want to try to create. So what had happened, I realized afterwards, is I was kind of balancing the ships based on the number of potential critical hits they could cause. For example, you think about an Aragul frigate, it can cause potentially 8 critical hits, 6 fire cannons, 2 javelin missiles. The Colayth Guard's Argyle attack frigate also can potentially generate actually only 7 critical hits. 3 with the pulse beam cannon they have in the front, and then a total of 4 more with its antimatter cannons. However, all those weapons have at least a power 2, potentially power 3, because of the pulse beam rules. So even though the Aragul frigate can put out potentially more critical hits, it's far more likely that the Argyle frigate will be much more reliable at it than the Aragul frigate. And I didn't really factor all that in when I was writing the rules for the Colayth Guard. So here's what I'm going to do. With the various antimatter weapons, it's funny, if I show you the picture of the card right now, you can see I've kind of scribbled in stuff on the stat card. That's actually how I develop games. I actually go back to the cards that I did a nice time trying to design and start scribbling all over them because, you know, you got to make little decisions like that on the fly, right? So with these antimatter weapons, what they have now are 2 power values. They have a lower level and a higher level. And the idea is in order to unlock the higher power level, the warship has to spend a reactor point, which also solves another problem with a Colayth Guard. They don't have active armor. Sorry, yeah, they don't have active armor. Make sure I have the terminology right. I forget first edition, same thing as second edition. So what happens is they have excess amounts of reactor points, and they really don't have any need for them, or they have other uses for them that maybe isn't as good. So by now giving them this option where they got to actually use some of their reactor energy to really get the full power of their weapons, it's going to have to make them use this limited resource in a more tactical way, which is a good thing. Another interesting side effect of the ships I figured out, but the fact that the lack of active armor means they do take critical hits a little bit more frequently. But a lot of the cards, not a lot of the cards, just 2 of them, you know, there's the armor damage card and the armor compromise card, along, of course, armor destroyed, armor failed. Those 2 cards don't affect the Colayth Guard in the same way as they affect the Surikar and Aragul. They actually give them an additional point of hull damage, and it says so on these cards, because when I designed Heroes of the Aragul, I knew the Colayth Guard are coming down the line with standard armor. But the other interesting side effect to these cards is that they don't actually reduce the critical values of the Colayth Guard warships like they do for the Aragul or Surikari. They have, in the case of the Aragul and Surikari, the one limits their overcharging armor, the other one actually reduces critical values. So it does in that way, it kind of gives a little bit more of a resilience back up in the Colayth Guard favor. So it's kind of weird, like, how that all works out. So initially the Colayth Guard have less resilience because, you know, they have the standard armor and can't reduce the critical damage pool like the Aragul and Surakari can. But then, in certain circumstances, when damage starts getting dished out, that kind of shifts up maybe even the balance of the Colayth Guard, because very frequently the Aragul and Surakari lose this ability to some extent to overcharge their armor or to have their critical value of their ship reduced. It's one of those little interesting things you discover when you're playtesting. But hopefully by the end of April here, I'll have all the big details sorted out, and I'll be ready to go into the detailing of steps of the play testing where I build some fleet lists, test things out, and really try to nail down the point values. Because right now the ships are a little bit high in the point value side. Argyle frigate is 14. The Dryden heavy destroyer I think was 25 off the top of my head, 24. I forget exactly right now. I don't have the card in front of me, but it's somewhere around that value. And I wouldn't mind, well, I wouldn't say wouldn't mind. I don't want to see them get any higher. And also, so obviously I got to reduce their power a little bit. And if possible, wouldn't be a bad thing to drop a point or two off of that. But that's basically what I got for you this time around. In April, like I said, we'll talk some more about some details, hopefully some balance updates, and we'll talk a lot more about the strike craft. That's the Everett heavy bomber that the Colayth Guard deploy. That is a totally new set of rules coming into the game, and it's pretty freaking cool. But anyway, once again, my name is Jason. I am the creator of the Kalidasia universe. To learn more about the Kalidasia.com, go ahead and head over to this link down here, and that's Kalidasia.com. I think I said that, Kalidasia.com, and pointed to the link in the video, and whatever. These videos I just make up on the fly. I'm not really gonna lie. I try to do them as few takes as possible. But you go over there, you can learn more about Heroes of the Aragul, which of course is a space combat miniatures game, Kalidasia Fleet Commander, the board game of Tabletop Siege, Tabletop Planetary. It's an off night right now. I don't really care. I'm just having fun with this video. So, learn more about Kalidasia Fleet Commander, the tabletop game of Planetary Siege set in the Kalidasia universe. And I think you're probably going to start seeing some more formal announcements of the Kalidasia site about this short film, but for now you can watch more about that and learn more about that on my Twitch channel over at twitch.tv/Rocker Robotics as I draw it out. I realize I always do that. Whenever I say twitch.tv/Rocker Robotics, that's my Twitch channel, go follow me over there, I tend to spell it out with my finger like I'm writing it, twitch.tv/ and I'm basically like mimicking it. I don't know why I do that. I just realized I do that all the time. Anyway, so I'm a bit off the rails I got off the rails a long time ago in this video, but that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good night.
For 6 months we have faced invasion, but here at Albion we will make us stand.